Hi, folks. My name is Jay Emerlinson, and I'm a transformation engineering lead here at Software AG and a specialist in the Eris product set. And today we're doing another Art of the Possible video featuring some thoughts from me on how you can best use the Eris platform to support your business transformation initiatives and your whole business transformation environment. Now, talking about the environment itself today will bring us to our topic, which is that of reusable knowledge management and object libraries. Now, that's a great question. What is an object library? What is reusable knowledge? What is non-reusable knowledge? Well, for that, we're going to have to dig a little bit into Eris and talk about what it means to have things in different contexts. So here you see an example of the United Motor Group, our demonstration database we often use when we're talking about the Eris, a fictitious car company for the Eris toolset. And in the center stock, we're seeing some ideas around process, whether it be strategy, business processes themselves, our customers' journeys, and we're going to talk a little bit about those in subsequent videos in this series. But this information tends to be specific to its context. As in, if I were to go to a business process, let me take a look at sales order processing and my as-is model for that particular process, each of these steps that's occurring, I consider this sort of information to be non-reusable knowledge. Checking sales contracting documents is specific to this model. It's specifically the sales contracts that are associated with this sales order, or correcting that documentation is specific to correcting the documentation within the context of this sales order. As in, I consider this non-reusable knowledge. I wouldn't reuse this idea elsewhere because where it was originated and where it is being used in this process, it is specific to what that process requires. Checking the specific customer master data on this sales contract in this particular system by this particular person. It is contextually defined and stuck. And that's what those kind of objects are function objects. So it's those functions and events, things that occurred and the steps we took. They tend to be context specific and anchored in. However, there's other knowledge that I consider reusable knowledge, things that you would find across a variety of contexts that itself is the same thing everywhere it exists. A perfect example would be an application system. The system pro order is the same in every process that it might occur, in every library model, which we'll talk about later, that it might occur in every application collaboration diagram if you're doing our enterprise architecture. Every context it exists in, the object itself is the same thing. Is completely, as opposed to, you could be checking different types of master data, creating different types of orders in different types of circumstances with the same box. So we don't try to reuse that knowledge. So for all the non-reusable knowledge, you see we keep it in our hierarchy structure, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And we're going to keep it specific to the businesses and business units and their process design areas within which they're working. However, what do we do about the reusable knowledge? What do we do with these roles or with these capabilities, these risks? Well, the answer is we tend to put them into object libraries. Now, an object library is all the things you see around the outside of this house, all the different types of objects that might connect into the center stock and provide that essential context for the non-reusable knowledge, particularly coming together with process as the hub. And how do we keep all this stuff together? Well, we keep it in specific models designed for libraries. We keep it in protected areas where the access is only read for all of your different types of users that are not architects. So your architects are maintaining a standard set of information, and all of your users are bringing in that information to their process models. So let's go and look at, for instance, IT systems as a domain library. Now, in this case, this domain library is maintained as a diagram that contains all the relevant information, but it's in a protected area that would prevent anyone from getting access to it should they not have that architectural level permission. And by doing this, not just for IT systems, but also for your organizations, for your risks, for all sorts of this reusable knowledge, you're able to much more quickly and easily contain, protect, share, and analyze all the information as you go. And one of the cool things I wanted to show you today is a handy tech tip that we use in exactly this kind of model. Now, what you're seeing here is a special type of relationship. You may not realize it, but it's on the screen right before your eyes. And that is a larger object containing within it smaller objects. Well, there's a really special type of a relationship in Eris. And when you put an object touching a different object, Eris will create a nested relationship. So for instance, if I put an application system class down, and then within this application system class, I'm going to put an object in application system type, you see it's going to actually create an implicit or nested connection. So this application belongs to this class. Now, this relationship is a real database relationship in Eris the same way anything else would be. But for instance, you can't see it until I move it off of this object and back on, back off. You see that relationship visually displays to show you what two touching objects would imply to you should you create that type of relationship. And we use that for a lot of our libraries. Applications are a perfect example. Another library that I often use nested relationships in is our capability library. You'll see that looks quite a lot like that application system library. I've got nested capabilities by their different domains from the top to the bottom on our capabilities. And by keeping these libraries, by keeping the permissions restricted on these libraries, and ultimately by reusing the content of these libraries in your process models, you can contain, control, share, and leverage for value all of the organizational knowledge capital that you've developed, and be able to control and manage it so that it's consistent across all of the different places in your organization. So when I see a single application name, I know that that's the standard application that we're pulling in from our library and for use on this and on many other models. Well, that's the idea of the library at a very high level. I've been JM, you've been a listener. Thank you so much. Please feel free to like or share or comment. Let me know if you have anything else you'd like to see in subsequent video sets. We'll be doing more of these Art of the Possible videos along the way as our second series. And it's a pleasure to speak with you today. We will see you in the next one.